Hello and welcome back to the channel where we are building a video game from scratch using Love2d and Lua. So yesterday we worked on getting our dialogue system fixed. And what that looks like is we can give a string, it'll automatically, parse out on each line the text that needs to be there. And if it's just one page, it'll end it. So the cool thing about it is if we can, if we give it more text, it auto paginates. So we can say, this is on page 1, while this is probably on page 2. So let's see that. Hello there, can you hear me? This is on page 1, while this is probably on page 2. Yeah. So we've got that. Now, it is kind of interesting how we're doing this. I say that because it's probably not good. But basically, what we're doing here in our map declaration is we're saying, okay, we're going to insert a signpost object, and this is what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be changing it from a signpost object to a dialogue object. So we're going to rename that, refactor it a bit. I guess just rename it, really. But we're going into the map. So map is a 2D array that just holds all the stuff in any given scene. So any 2D array of a map is a scene. So we're saying that map7.2 has a signpost, which we need to change to dialogue instances or something. And it's inserting this signpost instantiation. And what a signpost is we've got some blinking params here. We've got the text pulled from the parameter, text length, text trigger, we have resulting strings, we have pages, we have lines, we have all the logic to cycle through all of those characters and to sort it out on the correct given lines, and then also like the update logic where if you press the A button it'll advance. So today's gonna be a short day. I've got a big shoot this whole weekend and starting today, so I had a big long day at work today. So it'll be a short day for the whole weekend. It'll be short streams, but I'm kind of hoping we can maybe start to refactor or rename this signpost into dialogue, because a signpost, like right now, the thing is only talkable, only interactable on a signpost. But we want to be able to walk up to the wizard and have our hitbox in front of us trigger a dialogue with the wizard. So we're going to have to see what that might look like. To insert another dialogue that we update its exposition based on the wizard or whatever, and maybe the move is, let's see. So I'm going to check when we press P, when we are actually checking our, right here. When we check P, we check if we dialogue collide with any given signpost. So we would also have a dialogue collide with an NPC. So I guess the way to think about this might be right here. Whenever we press P, we're cycling through our signpost. I see it as two different ways. It's like we could, I was going to say we could, if we know there's an NPC on a given page, we can just assign a signpost, aka dialogue, to the current entity's position, and then we'd have to update that signpost with the entity. That doesn't make a lot of sense, right? It should be we have to check if our this dialogue collides. When we do this dialogue collides, that's what is the red box in front of us. So it's really just like interaction collide or something of that manner, because it's like if the red is barely touching the post here. Let's see. So barely touching, and we get it. If it only touches, yeah. So like that's the dialogue collision box that I'm calling here. But instead of checking the signpost, we'd have to check all the signposts anyway, because we have to, see if we are colliding with the signpost. But we have to also say if we're dialogue colliding with an entity that's on screen, any of the entities, then we would want to get that entity's field of dialogue. And then, there's a whole deal of like, okay, well, which dialogue do you get? How do we do a dialogue system that advances as you talk to them in different parts of the game? It has to change. That is tough. But we can literally just do a tree, an index of different dialogue objects. And let's say you've only gotten one spell so far, so anytime you talk to the mage, it's going to be one of 3 responses. We could build it out like that, and it wouldn't be that hard. It's just that in order to get more complex behavior, it would be tough to build it out. But we could kind of finagle it in the meantime, as we sort of internalize like what type of things would a good dialogue system employ. That's all stuff I'll be figuring out. So this is a little strange. We say if we're facing down, we insert a signpost collided into our signpost collided a given signpost. Why are we doing that? Signpost collided. I'm not sure where we're using this. Only render collided signpost. Okay, so we're just going to render the actual signpost that is in only the current... okay, this is weird. I take full credit. But let's try to change this around. So let's look for a given... Now the dot signposts make sense. It's just that we don't want to put... Let's just look through all the signposts assignments we might have. We insert into our signposts a signpost object. Now I'm thinking the object is what we change here. We'll call it a dialogue object. So we'll insert it, and then we do have a signposts, and then I do think that dialogue options will be part of an NPC. So I think we don't have to do anything particular there. If paused, what are we doing? We are updating the given collided signpost ID. Okay. See, so this is different. If we talk to an NPC, we would become paused, but then, it's not that we would want to update a signpost at the given dialogue ID. We might want to update... I don't know how we do it. Because this could be a signpost at dialogue ID, which is just a signpost object. But we could want to update the NPC dialogue object as well. So our play state probably has to keep track of, like, hey, did we collide with the dialogue box or did we collide with the NPC? If we collided with a dialogue box, then let's render the current dialogue ID for the signpost instantiation, update that. If we collided with an NPC, then let's update the dialogue object inside that NPC and update that. I think that's probably what we're gonna have to do. But all said and done, we don't have too many. I think the signposts logic is pretty okay. What is this part? Signposts. Okay, well, I misspoke. This is wrong. Well, this is right for just a signpost, but it's not right for a NPC entity. So what I'm trying to avoid is having to redo a bunch of this logic, whether it's an NPC text box or a signpost text box. So I think we want to change this signposts field to be called dialogues or dialogue object or something like that. But then it's tough because we're cycling through the pair of signposts, so we would be cycling through the pair of dialogues only through, then we're checking collision for a signpost. It gets messy quick. Like it's messy because I guess we could do the same thing if we collide with the NPC. Go ahead and do the same thing. Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, if we collide with a signpost or collide with a... But then here, we're only... Okay, jeez. Alright, I think the move is we just need to rename our dot signposts to be dot dialogue. Dot dialogue... active dialogue or dialogue... What do we call it? Dialogue box? Because all it is a dialogue box. Or, I guess dialogue makes it seem like there's two people speaking, but this is only one person is ever going to be kind of speaking to you. So it's not really a dialogue. So maybe we call it monologue box. Let's see if we can rename signposts without screwing everything up. So let's search for signposts. Okay. So there's this one in the play state. So it looks like we have it in play state and the map declarations, and that's it. So let's go to the play state and we will substitute any signposts with dialogue box. And then, oh, that's not right. Dot dialogue box. Okay. And then we need to go to our, we had it in our play state and we had it where? In our map declarations. So let's go there. Cool. So we will do a, we actually want to do a substitution of our dot signposts and switch it out with dot dialogue box. Okay, I did not highlight everything, so that was my bad. Okay. Okay, we have it in our play state. Okay, we did the same mistake. We didn't highlight everything. So we need to say signposts, dialogue box. Okay. I'm just seeing, you know, that shouldn't crash us. Cool. So now we have a dialogue box instead of a signpost. Let's rename our signpost object as dialog box. So, signpost. Let's rename this. And we'll rename it to dialog box. Okay, and then yeah, we need to rename it in here. We also need to rename it in our dependencies because that's when we import it. So any signpost in here is now needing to be a dialog box. Okay. Map declarations 295. So 295 when we actually instantiate it. Yeah, any signpost in here. So what we need to do is make sure we highlight everything and say signpost gets replaced with dialog box. Okay. Sweet. Okay, so we've got it renamed. Still works. The only thing is it's a little wonky how we have to render it. So like if we say, let's just search for a dialog box. This is what I'm looking for. Okay. So if P is pressed and we collide with a given signposts, actually a given .dialog box, which is an inserted dialog box. So I guess where it gets interesting there is that we have to know whether we check. Yeah, how do we do that? Let's look. Okay. So if we collide with the dialog box, so the thing is, the dialog box belongs to the scene. So the map at index and index. That's where the dialog box belongs. We place it in there manually at a signpost location, but it is different for a NPC. We can't just ask we need to essentially insert any given NPC's dialog box onto the current scene. This is weird. Because, yeah, I don't think we want to do that. I think what we want to do is detect a P and then cycle through all our entities and see if we've collided with an NPC, because that should take precedence over a sign. So, like, if there is a NPC there, you talk to the NPC, and we do that by saying, okay, well, for key value in pairs NPCs, go see if the global player dialogue collides with that given NPC. If it does, go ahead and do this, assign a dialogue ID. This is only relevant to signposts, because you can't read a signpost from facing down, so we'd have to make sure the NPC logic is triggered differently. So I'm trying to wrap my head around this. Now, dialogue ID is referenced to the index of the dialogue box that we're currently talking about, or that's currently active. So we're saying index K, right? We're saying if we collide with any given dialog box index, any of the dialog box objects in this table, then we're going to assign our values. Then we're going to take that key. We're going to take that index of our dialog box and assign it as a .dialog ID for the play state. Now, I still have some hesitation about this, but I guess it makes sense. Like, it makes sense that we only have one dialog ID. Dialog ID is going to be the index of the dialogue that's currently active. We don't want to be updating other dialogues, even though, there's multiple dialogue box objects on a given page. So we only want to update our dialogue ID. So that's what we do here. If we're paused, then we're updating our dialogue ID, dialogue box. I think that makes sense. So let's see. Let's try to give a dialog box instantiation to our mage NPC. And then let's see if we can trigger a dialog box rendering based on a collision with an NPC. If we could do that, that would be huge. So let's go to where we define our dialog box objects. Now we're going to insert not into a dialog box field of our global map table. We're going to insert it essentially into the mage entity. So, like, essentially it would be mage.dialog box, something like that. And then we put in that, like, hi, I'm a mage. Yo, and why do we have different X? We have different X positions on the dialog box. That is confusing me. The X position. Oh, okay. See, this is unique. The X and Y here need to be the mage's X and Y. Because that is the value that we are checking if we collided with. That means we need to update the dialog box X and Y position over time if there is one for the mage or for whatever. Which I guess every NPC would have a dialog box, so we can add that to our NPC class to just say, hey, while you're updating your location, also update your dialog box's location while you're at it. So this is going to be... Yeah, I'm a mage. Okay. So now we need to actually, this is the actual index for our mage. So what I'm going to do is just put it right here. We're going to say table.insert. And this is, this is the thing that gets a little hard codey. Not that it's hard to code, but like literally hard coding in. Because our mage is going to move throughout the game, so we kind of have to like be able to keep track of it. But for now, we're just putting it wherever we create the mage. That's where the dialog box is going to be instantiated. But the thing is, yeah, this X and Y positions needs to be the mages. So we're going to say map 7.2. .x and .y. Now, this is where these two parameters are where the hit box detection is for the dialog box. So once we instantiate this, we instantiate it at the mage's location. So instead of the hit detection being where the signpost was, it's going to be where the mage is instantiated at. And then, now that we've got a dialog box we actually have to put it in the right field. .npc mage index .dialog box. So now we need to say, okay, well, once we init our mage, which is in our, where do we, what just happened? What happened? Once we give ourselves a mage index, where do we do this? We do it right here. We create the mage right here. We're also going to give it, we want to give the dialog box field an empty table. That might be wrong. But no, I think we need the table because we're trying to insert an object into the table so it's indexable by index. So I think that's okay. So we have a dialog box index at this point, and we instantiate it right here. Let's see if we crash just by doing that. We do. Bad argument 1 on 291. 291. Bad argument 1, a dialog box. It doesn't like that. So dialog box for a mage index, NPC at index mage. Because we're saying the state machine of a mage index at index 1. Okay, I don't like how we're doing this, but NPC at mage index should have a dialog box. So this is an entity type. So let's say that we have an entity type here. And we have a initial, I don't know, dialog box empty. Okay, it didn't crash that time. Okay. So, we have a dialog box where the NPC, where the mage is. We're not updating it over time, and we're also not checking for collisions for it. So, let's try to do that. Now, if we look at where our NPC is, it's in our map, at our row and column, in our NPC field, at our index of whatever NPC it is, dot dialog box would be what we need to update. Let's go. It's almost like I want to see this dialog box itself be rendered, but it's only rendered if the game is paused, I think. It's a little tricky. Let's see if we can do... an update to the dialog box for our mage over time. So what that looks like is in our entity class. In our entity class, which is where? Okay, where are ya? Right there. Okay, so when we update our location, okay, dx, dy. Oh my god. Okay, where are we updating our X and Y position? We're doing it right here. That's just for geckos. Right here. So we're gonna update our X and Y position, and then we're gonna update our dialog box. See, and then I guess this is the thing. We don't want to update our dialog box. We want to update the first two parameters of our dialog box. We don't want to reinstantiate a dialog box. We just want to modify the existing... Where is it? It's at just the X and Y of our dialog box. Okay. So, where are we? It would be in our entity class. Okay, right here. After we update our position, we're going to update our dialog box's position to be our new position. So, dialog box Y is the Y of our new entity. So now the dialog box should get updated over time. As entity moves and walks around, we're moving the dialog box position as well. And that's what we're going to be using to test collision. You know, it has to be where the entity is in order to be a true collision. So let's try to find where we do the actual collision. Okay, right here. So here's tricky. How do we, instead of saying, let's go ahead and see if we collide with the dialog box, we have to also just see if we've collided with a NPC. So we're going to check the same value here. We're going to check our global scene view. We're going to check the current map row for the first index of our map table, and then scene view current map column for the second index, and we're going to check the .npc at actually just that, and then we're going to check our NPCs. We're going to cycle through all the NPCs we have, which on this map is just one mage. But we're going to cycle through, and then we're going to do essentially this dialogue collision, but we don't want to give it the dialog box index. We want to give it the NPC at index K. So we can say, if our player dialog collides, now dialog collides is that red hitbox in front of us. So if the if the hitbox in front of us collides with one of the NPCs of the current map we're viewing, then we have to do certain stuff. Now, the certain stuff I'm gonna do, let's just say that this is this. Okay, so like let's say that the certain stuff we're gonna do is go into the current dialog box at index K and flesh out. Oh, see, this is, I think this is wrong. If we put more than one, if there's more than one NPC in here, we could be putting a dialog box. No, this is okay because it's okay to insert it at index K because we're assigning our play state's dialog ID with that K value. And that's the one, that's the dialog box object that we're updating once we're paused. So it's okay if we have 3 NPCs, we only collide with the third NPC. We're going to be basically setting the stage for a dialog box for the third index, and then we're saving it as a dialog ID for our play state, and that's how we're using, that's how we're determining, okay, well, we're going to be updating the dialog box for the NPC, not the not like the signpost dialogue. So let's say that we don't worry about this. This is where I'm getting a little confused. I don't know if we want to keep, what we're doing here is saying, well, we're going to insert a given dialog box into signpost collided. So we only render the signpost that was collided. Hey, Magnetonics, what's up, dude? This would be, you know, we probably want to change the name for this because it can take a dialog box, not just a signpost anymore. But the idea is the same. We're trying to insert that dialog box at index K, the one we just collided with, and we want to insert it into the signpost collided table. Yeah, I've been good, dude. I've been good. I mean, I'm busy with, you know, I wrapped up my school, which is good, but, you know, I still work full time, so it's tough. It's tough for me to find a consistent streaming schedule, so I've been kind of all over the place, but it's going good. We got a dialogue system working. We're just trying to get it working for our NPCs now. So once we insert it, we insert that dialog box into what we call our signpost collided table. We'll probably change that. We become paused. If we're not paused, then we clear our signpost collided. Now, what is that doing? Well, if we hit P and we do collide, we're going to insert it. But if we hit P and we're already paused, is that what it is? If it's, no, if not paused. I don't get what we're doing here. Why do we do this? We're doing it here. If we're facing downwards, we're going to give ourselves, we're going to become paused. Oh, not downwards. If we're not facing down, we're going to become paused. If we're not facing down and we are in play mode, yeah, what is, we're going to become paused. If we're not paused. This is weird. I think I'm going to leave this for now. Let's just see if we got the dialog box working for the NPC collision. So let's just test that. Okay, well, we're missing an end or something. Oh, we've got too many ends. Okay. So that's a dialog box on a signpost. And then if we go to the mage... Okay, almost. It did detect... It did detect the dialog box object where the mage was. Because look, I'm pressing it and I'm outside the mage. And when I walk into the mage and press P, it detects the object. It's just the wrong one. So that's very close. I guess, you know, we're pulling the dialogue ID. Oh, and then we're cycling through the dialogue box and seeing if we collide with that given dialogue box, which we are. So let me just try to turn off the collision for signposts, and let's just see if we get the proper text from the mage. So look, we can't trigger a signpost. Shit. It's still the wrong one. So we might be doing something wrong here. We are pulling... Oh. Okay, I think this is wrong. I think this is wrong because we're pulling the dialogue ID, which, since there's only one mage in our NPC table, it would be pulling dialogue 1, you know, at dot dialogue box index 1. I have a feeling it comes down to this signpost collided. Because what we're doing there is we're saying we're going to render the index of... Okay. Yeah, we're rendering the signpost at index K, essentially. If we say signpost collided, this is where it is. We're inserting the dialog box at index K into... Well, no, that should be right in the sense that what is in our NPC... Oh, we need our .npc dialog box. Yo, what? Okay, we're right there. I think all we have to do... Yo, I lost my place. Okay, that's what it is. It's not our .dialog box index K. It's our .npc .dialog box at index K. No, it's our NPC at index K .dialog box. Because we can have multiple dialog boxes per scene, but only one per NPC. So that's what we're going to insert. Okay, so let's see if we get the new one. So this, no text for here, and we're looking for it to say, shoot. 256 scene, here we go. I think I accidentally deleted something in this scene when I was just over there. Let's check real quick. Did we touch our scene? Signposts? Oh my goodness. No way we touched that much. Okay. Play state. We're looking for the scene. Really, I didn't see it. Looks like we didn't touch it. Let me turn this back on. Dude, yeah. And it's so easy for me in Vim. Like, all it takes is hitting D to delete something. Like, I just deleted that all. So then it's like I'm constantly deleting stuff. Or any, like, X would delete something. And then, like, undo and redo and stuff. It's hard to tell. Hard to keep that organized. Okay, well, let's see. We're crashing because of what? Something in the scene at 256. So let's go there and see what's up. Okay, it doesn't think we have a object, a dot. It doesn't think we have a dialogue object in the signpost collided table. So here we're saying, okay, and I really don't get why we have that. I don't get why we had that to begin with. But let me see. That might be clearing it out. No. Okay, it's our map at our row and column dot npc index k. Let's just try to manually put it's our mage index. Oh, and you know what? I don't think that is global. Shit. Okay, because the thing is, k is not necessarily the same index as our NPC here. I don't believe. Actually, yeah, it should be because it's only the one we're collided with. So when we collide with an NPC, we're going to take the key for that NPC that we collided with. And then, actually, yeah, this is where we check. Okay, so K should be correct here. The dialogue box ID, their dialogue ID gets K, and then we're trying to insert NPC K dot dialogue box. So let's make sure we are inserting that dialogue box, and I'm pretty sure we are. Yeah, we're inserting into our NPC index K effectively dot dialogue box, an actual dialogue box. Okay. So why does it not like... I'm tempted to think it is because we have two of these, but like two branching logic there, but that doesn't fix it. Can't render a nil value. That's telling me that our signpost collided table isn't getting a dialog box instantiation. So let's just try to... It could be with the brackets that we tried to put in there. Let's see how we're doing in our entity class. Let's see how we assign our dialog box. It is an empty table. So maybe we can say it starts off as nil. And when we go into the declarations, we say we're inserting it into the dialog box, just like this. It's got to be, oh god, table expected got nil. Okay, so it needed the table, so that was right. So I'm curious if we're carrying over this dialog box. NPC index k dot dialog box. That should be right. Because the dot yeah, there should only be one dialog box in that table, and it's whatever active one is. I don't like that it's called signpost collided still, but it's working for this one. You know, it's working for the signpost. We're able to insert a dialog box at index k. Okay, so how are we doing that differently? Dialog box at index k. That's because our dialog box at index k is what we're modifying here. Yeah. So we're trying to insert into the signpost collided this given dialog box index k. So dialog box index k. I think what we want is this. I think this is what we want. NPC index k dot dialog box dot line result. I think that's what we want. It's going to be NPC index k. Oh, dot dialog box. Okay. Yeah, I think that'll fix our problem, because we weren't in the right field. Okay. And then we're inserting that dialog box from our NPC index k. Yes. Yeah, well, let's see. Shit. All right. I don't see what's wrong. Method render a nil value. It's just that I don't know why. This is commented out. So either we don't have a signpost collided. You know, I mean, maybe this needs to be assigned to an empty table first so that we can insert into it and then become paused. Maybe that's why we had it. Shit, man. 256. It doesn't like it. It doesn't like the signpost collided. So if we put... I'm curious if we just put the instantiation inside here, if it would work. So this right here. Oh, and you know what? We didn't We assigned a dialogue box here as an empty table. Yeah, so it should be able dialogue box. Yeah, we should be able to do it. Let's just try to do the instantiation here. So instead of all this, we're going to insert into our signpost collided the actual instantiation of the object we're trying to put in there. So it can't be nil. What is it mad at? Okay, let's try that. Okay, different crash. Playstate 19. Oh, right here. Okay. I don't know. I don't know why it doesn't like this. Damn it. I was hoping we'd get this today, but I don't think we will. Oh, this might be it. It's at a... Signpost collided is in the 2D array. Oh, that is where we're inserting it. Okay. Okay, the only thing I could think of is that the instantiation isn't putting it in there. So let's see if we can print up what is in this field. So let's go here and we'll take this whole thing and we'll come down to the bottom and we'll just put a print, and we'll print out the dialog box that is inside at like the whole field of dialog box at NPC 1 for the current map row. So let's go over into our constants, and it's actually in our conf, and we'll turn on the data console here. Okay, so let's try this. We're gonna run the game and hopefully it'll print that field. It's a table. That's a good thing. I mean, that's telling me that it is at least not nil. So let's say, let's print up the text that's in that spot. Nil. Okay, so it isn't working. What? Hey! Okay, so dialog box index 1 is what gets it to us. So when we go to insert it, we're not inserting the index 1. Let's try that. It might be index 1, it might be index K, I'm not so sure. Oh, it didn't crash. It didn't print the thing, but it didn't crash. Okay. let's see. Okay, so that one works. Damn it. It's just not rendering it. It's knowing that we're trying to trigger a dialog box render. It's rendering everything but the actual text. So let's see if... Oh, we've got access to the text. And we know that's printing. We're able to print it. So... how do we debug what isn't being printed? Either we messed up, either something in here for our... I think it's getting messed up because we have... I don't know. Dialog box index K. Okay, we need to do this. We need to do this. Give it an index for the dialog box. And that will magically fix all of our problems. Fuck. So the thing that I think is screwing us is that we have multiple dialog boxes on the same page. And I say that because when I trigger it here, just pressing P once doesn't get rid of the dialog box, but pressing it twice does. That makes me think that it's loading the page number of a dialog box like the sign that has multiple pages. So I guess to test that, we could just put a smaller test in here. And then if P takes off our text box right away, which it does, it's telling me that we're using this dialog box still. Yeah, we have to go about this differently. Because it's like, we put right here, we're inserting into the dialog box. You know what? I don't know. I don't know how to keep track of this. Because ideally, all we do... Let's see. Ideally, all we do is say, okay, well, we're going into our dialog box, and this is the third one, and this is an X and Y of a mage index with the proper mage stuff. And then instead of checking whether or not we're colliding with the mage.dialog box, we just need to update the .dialog box at index mage, whatever it is. And in this case, mage index is 1. I think we can get away with this if we do... Where are we updating? It's in the entity. We're updating not the dialog box. We don't want to do that anymore. We're inserting it into the dialog box. It's okay that that's in there. It shouldn't crash. It's just that we want to not here in our play state. Okay. So instead of doing this whole mumbo jumbo again, we're just going to put the .dialog box index K. So it's not a field that's associated with the mage itself. I don't know. I don't know if that'll work. And then we want to insert the same thing. Come on. Okay, let's try that. It's still the wrong one. Okay, so it instead of, you know, we're seeing if we collide with an NPC of a mage, and then this, it's not that we would change, you know, this, all of this K. I believe all of this K would actually be 3. Not that it's, you know, we don't want to hard code it like that, but let's just see if we get the mage text if we pass in 3 there. Let's see. Shit, man. Still not getting it. Dialogue ID of 3. Let's try that. If this doesn't work, I don't know what. Okay. We've got the mage dialogue box. And it's moving with them. Nice. Okay. So let's see if we can turn on. See, okay, so I guess this is jacked up because we want to pull. Okay, it's jacked up because the index of the NPC doesn't match the index of the dialogue box that it goes with. So like maybe the move is we have an, oh shoot, I don't know how we do it. How do we ensure that the index of the dialogue box matches the index that we're trying to print here? It has to be a value. It has to be a value passed by the NPC. Like it has to be an NPC field that we can access. So maybe the move is like we would say local NPC gets this whole thing. So local NPC gets this. If we collide with that NPC, I want to say, if we collide with that NPC, then we want to go and we want to modify that NPC's dialogue index or something. You know? So we can say, okay, we're going to use the value from the NPC dialogue index. And then dialogue ID. Oh shit, is that right? Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess okay. We can clean this up better. But if it works, right? We're gonna say dialogue ID is this dialogue index from our NPC field, and then instead of index 3, we say NPC dialogue index. Now we just have to make sure when we make our mage here, we're going to also require an index for which dialogue box it is. So like we can have an alternate or an optional index for the, 3 gets passed in because this is the third Oh shit. That's gonna get messy, right? That's gonna get messy because if we change it, that's gonna get messy, man. Let's just see if we can get it to work. Let's see if we can put a dialog box optional parameter of dialog ID. And we can say it wasn't dialog ID, it was called what? Dialog index. Okay, let's see if this works. No. Shit, man. I'm getting lost. Shit, dude. Okay, I say we go back to where it was working wrongly, call it a night, and then tomorrow we'll work on fixing it. Yeah, we have the hard-coded. I think we just try to change too many things at once. But if we have the hard-coded dialog ID right here, we're technically updating the X position for the dialog box that the mage is at, because we're not able to collide with it if he moves. But as soon as we face him, we have the correct dialog box for him. So at least we've got that. We should also, we'd probably want to change the direction the mage is facing so he faces us once we've talked to him. But we'll have to, do all that stuff. Once we get the dialogue working for it, we'll say added NPC dialog box. And then I want to say that we need to make dialog IDs consistent. Yeah. So the main issue here was we were cycling through all of our NPCs to see which ones we've collided with so that we can then go and load that NPC's dialog box. Now, the way we're loading the dialog box is in a local scene in a .dialog box table, but the dialog box was literally part of the NPC. That instantiation was in the NPC itself, and we're rendering and updating all of the dialog box text based on the scene's .dialog box objects. And so what I did was I moved the dialog box object from our mage itself, moved it into the scene's dialog box, and then hard-coded the collision for a dialog box index 3, because in this scenario, the third dialog box is the one for our mage. So tomorrow we'll be trying to get this to work. I'll do some thinking about it. I know I always say this, and I got a full day of work tomorrow, so I probably won't think about it that much, but we need to think if this makes sense. Does it make sense to have a dialog box for an NPC in the given scene? And we are at least correctly updating it over time, because the collision for that is working. But we need to find a way to tether the index of which we insert the dialog box that we want to be paired with the mage here. So like, you know, if we give it index 3 as a parameter because it's the third dialog box in the table, we can then check collision for the NPC. We got to do something better than that. Yeah, and you know what? I don't think we have to hard code in the 3 at all. I think we just have to cycle through all our dialog boxes for collision and then just return the dialog box object that's at that index. So why can't we cycle through, you know, not the NPCs, but the dialog box objects now that it's not in there? And then we collide with it. We don't need to pass that parameter. We're going index k, which is going to be whatever index of the dialog box object we just dialog collided with. So this way, if we talk to a sign, we get the hello, can you hear me? This is page 1, this is page 2. But if we talk to the mage, we are not getting our dialog box. And that's because, well, I don't know why. It might be because we put a 3 in here. Shit, man. I thought that was it. What's the difference there? It's at a mage index. That shouldn't really matter. It's at... yeah. It should... I thought that would actually fix it. Do we insert... yeah, we insert it into the dialog box. And then if we collide with any given dialog box, we do the thing with it. Did we add a hard code into here? No. Index K. And that works with every other dialog box. And then we say dialog box ID, and we still get that dialog box. Okay. Well, actually, yeah, I did think that this was going to work. It did not, though. So, are we not colliding with the original dialog box that we placed in there? Oh, it is there. It's not updating. It's not updating now. Okay, so let's just... that's the hard part, is that, you know, we've got it in there. It's rendering... what the heck? And now these signs aren't working. Why would that be the case? We must be... they work fine. They work until I trigger this one, and then it doesn't work. It does work. Okay, I'm not making up that was broken. Okay, well, now this is working. It's just that we're not updating our dialog box. So it's almost like, yeah, how do we tell? It's like we'd have to give our... okay, so there's two problems. We're only updating our dialog box if we're paused, because we're trying to render the text and update. So if we update our dialog box objects with an optional NPC X and Y positions so that we have access to the current location, we'd have to update it, which would screw up all the blinking and timer reset and all that stuff. So I'm not exactly sure how to get the dialog box. It's like we'd have to do a manual update, like not update the dialog box object all the way around, like we don't update every single dialog box object every single frame, but we cycle through and see which ones are tied to a specific, see if they're tied to an NPC, a Boolean, is it for an NPC or not? And then we'd have to be able to give it an NPC entity to update its X position every frame if it's tied to an NPC. So I guess that'll be tomorrow. Let's probably commit what we just did, because I think that was a good move. We'll say that we NPC dialog box working, just not updating over time. Updating position. Okay. Yeah, so that's the hard thing, is that we would want to periodically update a dialog box if it's tied to an NPC. Hey, what's up, K-Tronics? How's it going, dude? We've got our dialog box working, so like if we talk, we've got multi-page text coming out, and or single page text, as well as if we try to talk to a mage, it'll say, hi, I'm a mage. But this part of it isn't tracking with the actual NPC, so that'll be tomorrow. You caught me at the end here. I've been working like full production days this weekend, shooting a conference. So I'm surprised I made it an hour and a half tonight, to be honest, but this weekend I'll probably be a little slim on streaming, but we'll see. Yo, it's good, dude. I mean, I had the interview I really wanted last Friday, and I'll hear back about it this week. So I should know this week if that one pans out, and that's the one I've been really crossing my fingers for. So we'll see. I'll keep you updated for sure. Yeah, it was last Friday. They had 5 more interviews to do. It sounded like they were just going to do the one interview, and they just needed to talk to all the other ones they were going to interview. So I might be done with the process. I just need to wait for the answer. I don't exactly know, though. Yeah, hopefully yours is going good. Okay, hey, I mean, dude, if you got 3 interviews in, you're at least... Anything more than 3 interviews in and you don't get it is like a slap in the face, I think. If you don't get it, yeah, if they ask you in for like a 4th, and then they don't hire you, like... What? Like what? Yeah. But my last big boy job, I did have 3 interviews. So 3, I think 3 is the line. If they pull 4, I think that's a little ridiculous. Yeah, it's like, okay, well, I'm literally working for you right now, and you're not paying me, so yeah, I draw the line at 4. That's my take. But yeah, we're done. We just committed. We've got NPC text boxes, but it's not tracking with the NPC, so yeah, that's a whole deal. That's a whole deal. But we'll work on it tomorrow. We'll see what we can get done. Let's raid out. We'll see. Let's see. We've got some homies. Yeah, we'll raid. Dude, I am beat. I was up at 6, and then we shot all day till 5:30 or whatever, and then drove home, and then programmed for an hour and a half. So yeah, I'm beat. And I'm working, it's like at the end of a work week. So I've already worked a full work week, and then I've got the whole weekend, Friday and Saturday, Sunday of full production days, and then I'm back to work all week. So I'm gonna be beat. I'm gonna be beat the whole next week. Yeah. Thanks, homie. Yeah, I'll be here tomorrow. It'll be short, but I'll be here tomorrow. Thanks for hanging. Hope you all have a good night. Peace out. I'll see you tomorrow.